This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 3 of our series, Mastering World War II Historical Reenactment. In this episode, titled Speech Patterns, How World War II Soldiers Communicated, we'll dive into the colorful slang and jargon that brought a unique flavor to the everyday conversations of soldiers. Get ready to learn some fascinating terms and phrases that defined an era. Let's get started. Gunfire roars, radios crackle, and the clearest voice on the battlefield says just one word: Roger. In this episode, we'll step into cramped radio trucks and muddy foxholes to explore how a few clipped phrases held whole units together under fire. In World War II, how you spoke could quietly announce exactly who and what you were. A clipped, regulation-perfect "Roger, out" from a British signals officer didn't sound much like a Brooklyn kid on a field phone yelling, "Jerry's tossing a party up front." Yet both were doing the same job, moving information along a fragile chain without breaking it. Beyond the gun lines and codebooks, speech patterns revealed branch, nation, even mood. Pilots favored breezy understatement, infantry leaned on gallows humor, and anti-aircraft crews barked rapid-fire reports over the chaos of engines and explosions. Slang, radio procedure, and unit in-jokes mixed like overlapping melodies in a noisy orchestra, each with its own rhythm and tempo. For a reenactor, tuning your ear to these distinct voices is as important as getting the uniform or kit right. Beyond those surface differences in tone and style, there was a deeper layer every soldier had to navigate: who was listening and how much they were allowed to know. A casual gripe in a trench was one thing. A casual phrase over the airwaves could give away a position, a unit strength, or a plan. That's why seemingly throwaway words carried hidden weight, like a weather front hiding behind clear skies. Culture fed into this too. Hollywood catchphrases, hometown sayings, even sports talk got repurposed, trimmed down, and reassigned as shared verbal shorthand within a unit. Step 1 for any reenactor getting this right is to separate how people talked from what tools forced them to talk that way. A GI with an SCR 536 handy-talkie strapped to his chest didn't just sound different from an RAF pilot because of personality. The hardware literally shaped his sentences. The 536's short range and fragile batteries meant messages had to be ruthlessly practical. Quick contact reports, corrections, and acknowledgments, all in a voice loud enough to cut through chaos, but calm enough not to panic the listener. No wasted breath on the air. Different jobs produced different micro-dialects. Artillery forward observers lived in numbers and direction, grid references, shell types, timings. Their speech was measured, almost mechanical, because a casual phrase could shift a barrage onto the wrong field, or the wrong platoon. Tank crews, crammed into metal boxes, favored blunt, punchy bursts. Target, range, movement, then back to silence. Pilots, by contrast, balanced clipped procedure with an almost laconic cool, partly to steady their own nerves, partly to keep the radio net from clogging when dozens of aircraft shared a frequency. You also hear national character layered on top of role-specific habits. American units tended toward exuberant, sometimes irreverent phrasing in informal chatter. British and Commonwealth voices often sound more reserved or dryly humorous even under strain. German and Soviet nets had their own rigid formulas and rank-conscious styles, which sharply contrast with the more first-name, buddy-centric American tone in private moments. None of this was random. Training schools, drill instructors, and doctrine hammered patterns in, but everyday personalities bent those rules in small, revealing ways. Think of it like a piece of music. The score, official procedures and equipment limits, sets the notes and tempo, but every section of the orchestra and every player phrases those notes with slightly different emphasis. For reenactment, that means you're not just memorizing words like Roger or ack. You're choosing when your character would be rigidly by the book and when the rough edges of fear, fatigue, or boredom would sneak into the rhythm of their speech. For reenactors, The trick is treating this like learning a new accent, plus a new job. Start by listening to era recordings, newsreels, training films, even comedy shows. Note how a stateside announcer might say, "And now we take you to our boys overseas." Then cut to a correspondent whose cadence sharpens and vocabulary tightens without losing personality. That contrast shows how speech shifted with proximity to the front. Drill specific moments instead of random phrases. Practice how you'd sound.
On a bored night watch, trading low-key jokes with a buddy.
During a sudden air raid, forced to snap into stripped-down calls. After the danger passes, when voices loosen but stay wary. Like a musician rehearsing short riffs before a full piece, you're building a palette of believable reactions. Over time, you'll stop doing radio talk and start sounding like someone who's lived with it for months. Your challenge this week: pick one role, rifleman, pilot, tank crewman, and script 3 20-second scenes for that character in different moods: relaxed, tense, and exhausted. Record yourself performing each scene twice, first in your natural modern speech, then adjusting tone, pace, and word choice to feel more period appropriate. Don't chase perfection, chase contrast. On playback, ask, where did my voice tighten or flatten? Which words felt too modern? Mark those spots, tweak the lines, and re-record. By the end of the week, you should hear a clear shift toward a distinct World War II voice for that role. Digitized World War II chatter won't just sit in archives, it's becoming training data. Linguists and designers mine it to build voice systems that stay clear when humans are scared, tired, or multitasking. Future cockpits, emergency dispatch consoles, even space missions may borrow its cadences the way architects study old bridges. For reenactors, mastering this living accent turns generic uniforms into specific people, anchoring family stories before they fade into silent photographs. Off the battlefield, those same habits leak into letters, diaries, and post-war conversations, leaving fingerprints you can still hear in families today. Treat them like tree rings. Each clipped phrase hints at training, trauma, and the buddies who taught it. As you refine your reenactment voice, you're also reverse engineering real lives from fading echoes. To go deeper, here are 3 next steps. 1. Dive into real World War II voices by listening to the Library of Congress's Voices of War recordings and the BBC's World War II People's War audio clips. Pay attention to slang, cadence, and regional accents the episode mentioned, like GI slang and radio brevity talk. 2. Grab a copy of Paul Dixon's War Slang or Jonathan Leiter's Random House Historical Dictionary of American Slang and build yourself a mini World War II soldier phrasebook, highlighting expressions used in the episode. For example, scuttlebutt, snafu, ack. 3. Open a free Morse code trainer like lcwo.net or Morse Code Ninja on YouTube and spend 10 to 15 minutes practicing the actual SOS pattern and a few simple letters. Then compare that rhythmic sound of communication to the spoken field commands you heard described. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!